my Defender 110 project. Today we're going to be undersealing the chassis, or when I say underseal you could call it waxing or rust proofing, whatever you want to call it. Now obviously you've seen the amount of work that went into getting the old underseal off, and you saw what it was doing to the chassis. Now I've managed to save it, and obviously I've refurbished the entire chassis up to the front, and I'm going to finish the front off when I remove the front axle. So I did a bit of trawling around the internet, basically because I didn't want to apply the same sort of stuff that's already on. I don't want to keep doing this every couple of years. So I want something that is waterproof, is durable, can just be covered straight back up, it's easy to use, and the most important, it stops the chassis from deteriorating. So I've come across a company called Lanoguard, and their product is designed specifically to stop metal from rusting or preserve it, if that makes sense. They actually started off in marine engineering, so things that were in the sea or dealing with salt water, trying to preserve things for as long as possible. So now they've started coming onto the automotive side, and they've come up with this chassis kit. Now when I rung them to speak to them, this stuff is literally what it says on the bottle. It's waterproof, it's very durable, it's very easy to apply. The only thing really you've got to do is jet wash the chassis down so it's clean to put the product on. It sounds too good to be true, in all honesty. This stuff as well is for the thicker areas, so like especially on the Land Rovers, the footwells, the outriggers. You put this on, it's a better coating, or it's a more, what should we say, it offers a bit more protection than the normal stuff you spray on. It all comes as part of the kit. The only extra that I bought is what's called the 360 wand, and this gets into all the areas you can't access with just the spray gun. So the reason I went for this as well is because it literally, you don't need to buy anything to apply it. You literally just buy the kit and off you go. Just that's it. So we'll give it a go. If you look on their website actually, or if you ring Mark at Lanoguard, ask about the product, ask any information at all. He's a really nice bloke and he knows his stuff. He really does know his stuff. He's dealt with all, I think he says to me, he's done wax oiling on tractors, airplanes, boats, all sorts, and him and his partner have come up with this product, so it should be really, really good. The only thing I'm going to do with this is, because it's cold at the minute, it is actually quite a hard material. It dries quite hard. So what he said to me is, if you put it in the microwave, or in my case I'll put it on top of the fireplace, let it sit for 15-20 minutes so it goes into a nice, like a watery grease, and you're able to brush it onto places. So this stuff's going to go on the cross member right at the back. It's probably going under the where the springs mount. Where else am I going to put it? On into the body mountings and things like that. That's where this stuff's going to go. This stuff, you don't whack it on as much as you possibly. You literally just spray over the top, make sure you've got it everywhere, and that's it. If you are new to the channel, have a look at the other videos regarding the chassis preparation. It took a lot of work to get where I am now. A lot of work. So you can understand why I was so particular about what brand of underseal I wanted to use. The reason I actually started doing this, as most of you will know, is because the underseal was starting to make the chassis rust faster, causing it to rot because it was trapping water in. So if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot and it'll go a long way. So let's get on with the video. So this is the Moto spray. This comes with the nozzle and a long tube which sits in the top, so you can spray all underneath. The only extra I've bought is what's called the 360 wand. So it's a bit of a tube that goes onto the end of the sprayer, and it's got a bung in the end with holes around it, so 360 degrees all the way around it, and obviously when you spray it disperses the fluid all the way around. So this is good, such as going under the tub, because you can get at least halfway in there. So from the other side, that's the full tub, through the chassis into the holes here, but most importantly into that back cross member, because that's the place that rots first, or well, that's the place that seems to hold the water and rot from the inside out. So the plan of action then is to do all the inside of the chassis first with this, and while the motor grease is warming up on the fire, I'll get this done. By the time the motor grease is warmed up, I'll be able to just like brush it on onto the back cross member. And obviously once everything's done, once I've done everything, I can then start fitting the fuel tank back on, and then finally start to rebuild. So first of all, I've removed the protective guards from the back, just so I can get in a lot easier. It's only 2 screws. I had to drill them out because they was all rusted up. But I've got some new ones to put on, so I'll show you that in another video. This grease stood about half hour now at the side of the fire, and it's like paint now. So it just advised me, it says for the areas that never get washed, like the cross member, actually brush it on so you can get right into the nooks and crannies with it. So that'll offer the best protection, which is what we want for this back cross member, because it was a bit of a mess. So I'm just going to have a quick look around the chassis, see if there's anywhere I've missed. Now, because my chassis is freshly painted, it's harder to actually find out what I've done, because when it soaks in, you can't even tell it's on. It's really, really good. If anything, it makes the chassis look even smoother. But yeah, so far I've used just under half, and I've done everything on it. I've done all the body mountings, everything that's steel has been done with this. So yeah, half of it. So as I'm fitting parts back on, like the fuel tank guard now, it's going to get a coat of Lanoguard and then fitted back on. So everything's going to be waterproof. Well, everything's going to have this stuff on it. I'll take you around the chassis now so you can see what it looks like. This side's actually been in the sun, so it's been allowed to settle in. So if I just... So it does stay, it's like on the surface, but it does soak in. And if you leave it, it all seems to, like that fingerprint there, will disappear. It all seems to just like overlap over the top. It looks brilliant. It's good because you can't even tell it's on. So if you want your chassis to look good, which personally I wasn't bothered about, it's good stuff to use. You may have noticed as well that I've loosened the tub bolts. The reason for this is, on the Puma models especially, you get a lot of galvanic corrosion between the steel and the aluminium. Now Lanoguard actually prevents that from happening. So I've just loosened these off so I can spray the Lanoguard down the back and it will actually soak down behind the aluminium and stop that reaction from happening. So that's the motor grease applied to the inside of the chassis where the fuel tank goes. The reason I've applied this grease there is because that was the worst bit of the chassis. You cannot get in properly to wash it off. So it says warm this up, brush it on, and that's it. It dries on, it's done. Now I forgot to mention earlier on that Lanoguard, the spray and the grease is fully waterproof. So you spray water on it, it'll just bead off. It doesn't actually soak into the metal, which is what this does to kind of disperse the water. If you look on his YouTube channel, he actually shows you can jet wash this off. You can jet wash the chassis. So if say like we've been through a field, it's plastered in mud all over the chassis, you can jet wash the entire chassis and the Lanoguard stays on. It actually helps to disperse the mud and the water away from the metal, completely coating it and stopping the rust from getting behind it, which is fantastic. This is what we want. So now that's all done, I've done the entire chassis up to the front axle. So I'll do the rest of the chassis in Lanoguard when I remove the front axle. So now I can get the fuel tank back on and start rebuilding it. So that's the chassis completely coated in Lanoguard, and it's took me about an hour and a half to do it, and that's going really in depth into it, getting right into the chassis and just coating everything. So yeah, an hour and a half later, that means I've got time to start fitting the fuel tank. The only thing I've done different is, you probably can remember the breather hose off the fuel tank on the Pumas is rubbish, it just splits. So I've made my own. I'll just show you it quickly. So this is just a bit of silicone pipe. I bought it off eBay, I think it was £10, and I got a metre length of it. So new Jubilee clips just around the one-way valve. Same length as the original, and it's strengthened as well. So that's a good replacement. this morning, and overall I'm really impressed with this product. It is really good. It's put a lovely coating over the chassis. You can see now where it's actually set, but it doesn't dry completely. You can still kind of push it off with your finger. So this stuff is completely waterproof. You can jet wash it, you can go through big piles of mud if you want to, and this stuff will not come off. You can get, if you do need to remove the Lanoguard at any stage, you can buy some Lano off from the company. But again, really impressed with this product. If it needs topping up as well, it's only used half the tub. And obviously, I don't know if you spotted when I fitted the fuel tank, I put 2 coats of Lanoguard on the inside and the outside of the guard. And the same with everything that I'm now rebuilding. Coat of Lanoguard just to try and make it last that little bit longer. I'll do a video in a couple of months' time to show you when the Land Rover's back on the road. We'll do a video just to see how the chassis is getting on out, because it's now winter, so they'll be putting a load of salt on the roads. So we'll do another video just to have a look at the chassis again. But if it looks as good as what it does on their website, I'd recommend this product to anybody. It's really easy to spray on. I mean, I went OCD crazy getting it into all the holes in the chassis. I literally sprayed it everywhere on this chassis. It took me an hour and a half. So you don't need any special tools. It really is good. So that's the end of this video. There's a lot more to come now. Now the chassis is done, it's literally now time just to rebuild it. So I'm not weather dependent on such as things like this. It's taken me a week to put this on because it's been so windy up here lately. If I spray it, it'll just blow out everywhere. So there's a lot more to come, so don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.